Hello, guys. I'm joined here with Oliver, who is ready for me to stop doing this so I can go build Legos, right? So you gotta get out of here. All right, guys. Laws of exponents. So yesterday we talked about product of powers and the power of a product. And you see, this is just a review. A to the nth power times a to the m power equals a to the n plus nth power. Then our power of a product rule is going to have a times b to the nth power, a to the nth, b to the nth. So today we're going to talk about the power of a power. It's a lot of power there. So I have a to the nth power to the mth power. And essentially what that is just, this is when we get to multiply. All right, so let's illustrate this. So I have to come up here. All right. So if I have a, and first of all, if my handwriting is bad, it's because I'm using my trackpad, so I apologize. Can't be worse than some people's, whose names I'm not going to say. All right, so I'm taking a to the fourth times a to the fourth times a to the fourth 3 times. All right, so just then we go through and do our product of a power rule, where it'd be 4 a to the fourth times a to the fourth times a to the fourth. 4 plus 4 plus 4 is a to the 12th. Here we go. A to the 12th. All right. So that's where essentially this rule just tells us multiply anytime you have an exponent raised to another exponent. All right. So to simplify exponential expressions, we kind of go through this process. We first want to change each negative sign to a factor of -1. Remember we talked about that yesterday. We don't want to deal with negative variables. Number 2, replace each exponent on a parentheses with the exponent on each individual factor in the parentheses. That is the power of a product rule. 3, simplify each exponential expression. 4, reorder the factors to put numerical factors together and variable factors with the same. So that's when I was color coding yesterday. We want to put all similar factors together. It makes it a lot easier to simplify and multiply together. And then number 5, multiply together all numerical factors and simplify each group of variable factors with the same base. All right, so here we go. So 3t squared raised to the third power. So I want to take everything inside of here, raise it to the third power. So I'll have 3 to the third power times, in parentheses, so this t squared is still, it's t squared, but then I raise this to the third power. So 3 to the third power, we can simplify that as not 9, but 27. And then 3t cubed. So this is our power of a power rule, where I take 2 times 3 to equal t to the 6th power. All right, and we can just leave it simplified like that. So let's go on 39. So I first, the 4x out here is, it's not being squared, so the 4x, I'm just going to keep the same. It's not going to come into play till a little bit later. So now I have everything inside of this parentheses is being squared. So I have 3 squared, and then x squared raised to the second power, and then I have y squared. Okay, so then I can go back through here, and 4x stays the same. So what I just did is I did power of a power rule, and then I'm going to multiply by 3 squared, which is 9. And then I have, I'm sorry, yes, this right here was the power of a product. So I started with the power of a product rule. Now I'm getting into my power of a power rule. X squared to raise the second power is x to the 4th, because this is where we multiply. And then multiply by y squared. So then this is where yesterday I would color code, not doing that today, take too much time. But I would write 4 times 9 times x times x to the fourth times y squared. And then 4 times 9 is 36. And then I have x times x to the fourth is x to the fifth, doing the product of a power rule, and then y squared. Okay? All right, so let's go to 40. So again, this 5ab squared, I can just leave this the same. This is not, none of my power rules are being applied to this currently. So then I take a look at everything in here, and I'm going to use my power of a product. Remember, again, that's where you have a times b in parentheses raised to the nth power, and I rewrite it as a to the n, b to the n. So I'm going to take 2 to the fourth power times a to the fourth power times b cubed, and raise that to the fourth power. So again, a times b squared all stays the same. All right, 2 to the fourth power gives us 16. A to the fourth power. And then now here's where I do my power for power. B cubed raised to the fourth power is b to the 12th. Okay. So then I look to see, okay, what actually goes to get what can I actually multiply together? 5 times 16 times a to the fourth b squared times b to the 12th. All right. Then from here, let's multiply. 5 times 16 is 80. A times a to the fourth is a to the fifth. And then b to the 14th. All right. So now here's a fun one. I got this negative xy in parentheses raised to the third power, and then multiplied by a negative 2x squared times y raised to the fourth power. Okay. So let's go back and remember what I said yesterday. I don't want negative variables. That's makes life a lot more complicated. So we want to take this negative right here and think of it as a -1. So this -1 is being raised to the third power, because I'm doing my product of a power rule. And then I take x to the third power, y to the third power. Okay. Then I can come over here and take this -2 and raise this -2 to the fourth power, x squared. Oh boy, those are parentheses. To the fourth power, and then y to the fourth power. Okay. So -1 to the third power, this is what Titus asked yesterday. What about when you have like an odd number? And anytime you have an odd number exponent, it's always going to stay negative, because this is basically like a negative times a negative times a negative. So this -1 to the third power is just -1. X cubed, and then y cubed. All right. So now I have this -2 to the fourth power. That's just saying -2 times -2 times -2 times -2. And anytime you have a positive exponent, anytime you have an even number exponent, the value is always positive. So this is just going to be 16. And then I have, that was an x. X squared raised to the fourth power using my power of a power rule. It's going to be 2 times 4. So that's going to be x to the 8th. And then y to the 4th. Okay. So we have to put all this together. So I have this -1 multiplied by the 16. Then I have my x cubed times x to the 8th. Then I have my y cubed, or yeah, y cubed times y to the fourth. So this is when we then go back and perform the product of a power, which was our first exponential rule we learned yesterday. And I simplify this to negative 16 times x to the 11th times y to the 7th. All right. I'm going to stop this video and there'll be one more after this.